Welcome to High Moon Tarot, Pisces. So glad to have you. Let's do your love catch-all for June. It's a good one. I'm using the Radiant Rider-Waite. And we're going to do this 9-card spread. Oh, we got the 10 of Swords upright, but I haven't asked for anything, so I'm just going to put it back. If it wants to come out again, it will. I like to cleanse my cards in between each sign, just FYI. You don't have to do that. A lot of people don't. Some people do. I'm one of them. I like to do that. I cleanse them with my Tibetan bells and my white sage that I put a lot of good intentions into. So yeah, let's get into it. The first card is going to reveal what draws this person towards you in June. Oh, and we have a flipper. We have the 6 of Swords reversed. This is what pulls them in June. The second card is going to reveal their unedited feelings. This is what this person really feels before they edit themselves, before they show you what they think should be shown or they think is safe to show. This is their feelings. We have Knight of Pentacles reversed, jumped out. The third card is intentions. It's what this person wants from this relationship in June. It can be self-serving or maybe comfort. It might be material, might be sexual. Might be friendship. Let's see. We've got the 8 of Cups upright. That's what this person wants in June. Interesting. Fourth card is resistance. This is what keeps them from completely showing up, if there is anything. It's going to show here. This can be external or internal. Might be feelings, ego. Might be fears, or it might be home, family, job. Other priorities. This is the resistance. Show me. We have 5 of Pentacles upright. The 5th card is the blind spot. This is what you don't see. This is what's happening behind the scenes. You might feel it though. It might not be intentional or anything like that. It's just what's not seen. It's not out in the open yet. Show me the blind spot for Pisces relationship with who they're thinking about in June. We got the Magician reversed. What's going on, Pisces? Okay. This next part is the alignment check. We're going to see how this person shows up when everything's wonderful. When things are easy, when you're on the same page, when there's no pressure. When nothing's being asked of them. This is how this person shows up. When everything's easy peasy. We have the 4 of Wands reversed. This is the juice right here. We see how they show up when it counts, when it matters, when there is pressure, when there's loyalty tests, or when Everything's not fun when there needs to be serious talks or real effort put in. When no one's on the right page or the same page. Not the right page, but the same page. The bills aren't paid, the baby's crying, or... Oh. Knight of Cups, upright. Nice. This is this person's next move, this next card. This reveals what their next move will be in June. We have the Eight of Swords reversed. And the 9th card is all about you, Pisces. This is your power move. This is your next best step in June. It keeps you in integrity, brings you clarity, and keeps you in your power. Let's see it. It's Pisces' next best step for June. The World. Okay. Next, I'm going to change the camera angle. We're going to take a deeper look at these cards, and I'm going to pull a rune at the end that's going to give the last word of advice. Pisces, it started to rain for your reading. We're getting natural ambience here. Nice. Okay, first placement here. Let's get into it. So, for the pull, this shows what draws this person's attention, energy, and focus towards you. This doesn't automatically mean love or commitment or healthy attraction. It shows the hook. It shows what about you or what about the connection activates them. Or I guess I should say activates something inside of them. This can be attraction, curiosity, tension, desire, intimidation. It can show mental fixation or something they've not understood yet. But this first placement tells us why their energy is pulled in your direction in the first place. And you have the Six of Swords reversed. So that tells me that this person is pulled toward you because something about the connection still feels unresolved. They may have tried to move on, distance themselves, or act like they were past it, but mentally and emotionally, they're not fully clear of it. Because this is Swords energy, the pull's coming through the mind, thoughts, memory, analysis, and unfinished communication. So this person may still replay what happened, think about what was said, think about what wasn't said, and try to understand why things never fully settled or worked out. The Six of Swords normally wants movement towards peace, balance, or calmer waters, but reversed, that peace is delayed. The transition is unstable. Something got stuck before it could become real healing. So this can show distance without closure, silence without peace, or an attempt to move forward that never fully landed. This card can also has a strong mental signature. It's swords. So we're already dealing with thoughts and words and memories and analysis and what someone keeps replaying in their mind. But the Six of Swords is also connected to Mercury and Aquarius, which adds another mental layer to this card. Mercury is the mind, communication, thoughts, messages, memory, and the way someone tries to make sense of what happened. And Aquarius is air, so it's already mental, but it's more detached, observational, future-focused, and pattern-based. Aquarius tries to step back from emotion and understand the situation from a wider view. So with Mercury and Aquarius, this person may be trying to think their way into the distance. They may be trying to understand the pattern, make sense of the communication, detach from the emotional weight, or look at the situation like they're already above it instead of inside of it. Because the Six of Swords is reversed, that mental distance is not fully working. The mind is trying to get perspective, but it keeps getting pulled back into what's unresolved. They may understand pieces of the situation logically, but it doesn't mean that they have found peace with it. That's why the pull is so mentally unfinished. Their mind may be trying to move forward, rationalize it, detach from it, or explain it, but something about the connection still doesn't feel settled for them. So this is just not just emotional unfinished business, this is mental unfinished business. The mind's trying to get distance from the situation, but because the card's reversed, that distance is not bringing them peace. Instead of clarity, they can be overthinking, rationalizing, replaying, or staying stuck in what was said, what wasn't said, or why the connection never fully landed. The mind is in transit, but it's not arriving, and that's because something has not actually been cleared. The Six of Swords wants movement away from conflict, but reverse, the person may be trying to move on while still carrying the same thoughts, the same questions, memories, and anxiety or unfinished conversations. So the problem is not that there's no movement at all. The problem is that the movement's not completing. They may be trying to get to calmer waters, but the unresolved material is still coming with them. So the pull is coming from unfinished mental movement. Something about this connection still hasn't been fully understood, spoken, released, resolved, or keeps their attention tied to what hasn't fully crossed over into peace. Okay. Let's move into their unedited feelings. So this shows what the person genuinely feels before they filter it, over-explain it, hide it, justify it, or control it. This is emotional undercurrent underneath the mask, the pride, confusion, practicality. And you have the Knight of Pentacles reversed. So this says that the person's feelings are present, but they're slow, heavy, and not moving cleanly. The Knight of Pentacles upright can be steady. He's patient, he's loyal. This is the most practical knight, consistent and willing to build over time. But reversed, slow becomes stuck. Steady becomes stagnant, and patience can turn into avoidance. So the feeling may exist, but the movement behind the feeling is not dependable. Because this is a knight, we're dealing with movement and pursuit and effort, and how someone tries to act on what they feel. And just to be clear, this is not about gender. A knight represents an energy, a maturity level, a way of moving, and how someone approaches the situation. Reversed, that approach is weakened. It's delayed and not functioning the way it should. So the emotional movement is resisted. The energy gets stuck and keeps repeating the same pattern instead of moving forward. Because this is Pentacles, the feelings are connected to real life, safety, attachment, consistency. Pentacles are the quietest emotional suit, but they are very revealing because they show where feelings land in the body and in everyday behavior. This is not someone only asking, what do I feel? They may also be asking, can I handle this? Can I maintain this? What would it cost me? What would I have to do differently? What's this going to require from me? So the problem is that reverse, the Pentacles energy becomes heavy. So there can be avoidance, procrastination, low motivation, fear of change, getting too comfortable doing nothing. This person may feel the connection but also feel stuck, resistant, or emotionally dulled by the weight of the routine, responsibility, expectations, or demands they do not want to face. They may care but not feel energized enough to move forward. And they may feel attached but still resist the effort needed to keep the connection alive. They may feel drawn to the idea of stability, loyalty, or building something real, but reversed, they're not fully participating in what that would require. There's also a heavier earth layer here. This person may feel the weight of the real world side of this connection. So they may be aware that feelings alone are not enough, and something would have to change in their routine, effort, consistency, priorities, or level of responsibility in the connection. This can leak out as no progress, dragging their feet, repeating the same pattern, refusing to adapt, or calling it taking things slow when really the energy's not moving at all. There's a difference between steady and stuck. So this card is showing where slow has become stagnant. So underneath the surface, this person's feelings are heavy, they're practical, and stalled. Something's there, but it's not becoming dependable action. They feel the weight of the connection, but the follow-through is weak, delayed, or stuck in practical fear. We're going to move into what they want. This is their intention or what they want. This shows what the person wants the connection to provide or become for them. This isn't just what they feel, and it's not just what they need. It shows what they are reaching for emotionally, or what kind of experience they want the connection to give them. And because it's cups energy, the want is emotional. Cups is in this placement shows the emotional experience someone wants from the connection. Love, comfort. It can be emotional truth, repair. It might be validation or belonging, emotional safety. For what they want, Pisces, you have the Eight of Cups. So this says that the person wants deeper emotional fulfillment. They want the connection to mean enough that it's not shallow, performative, or emotionally empty. The Eight of Cups doesn't promise happier times, and it doesn't guarantee success somewhere else. It simply shows a person becoming aware that the current emotional circumstances have little left to offer in their present form. So that the want here is not careless escape, it's the desire to act on emotional awareness. With the Eight of Cups, the person simply knows something's missing. There's no dramatic disaster here. There's not awareness of change. The person recognizes that something is missing, and they cannot keep pretending it doesn't matter. See the gap in the cups? Right here? That's the thing the person's searching for. They want that ninth cup. They want deeper emotional truth, more meaning, more honesty, more fulfillment, and something that feels whole. So this not always mean that they want to leave a person. Sometimes they want to leave the pattern inside the relationship, the emotional setup, or the version of the relationship that no longer serves them. They may be questioning whether this connection can grow into something deeper emotionally, or whether it's already given all it can emotionally. It can also mean they want fulfillment that doesn't depend entirely on the connection, like a creative purpose, friendships, study, spiritual growth, or something that gives them back a sense of self. It can also show someone turning inward. The image of the moon is partially covered by the sun. So it's almost like an eclipse. Symbolically, during eclipses, the outer world's way of handling things gets quieter for a moment, pushing forward, taking action, trying to control the outcome, and trying to force certainty. And the inner world becomes louder. Intuition, emotion, reflection, and the private truth someone can't ignore. So this is why on a quieter level, this can show someone wanting to step away from outside noise and turn inward so they can hear their own truth. This can be a craving or a need for solitude and reflection beyond the relationship. They may need time to figure out whether their heart is still choosing this, or whether they're only staying because it's familiar. That's also why this does not have to mean a permanent ending. Tarot shows the energy as it is right now. It shows the current emotional weather, not a life sentence. This person may be pulled inward or away right now because they need time to understand what's actually missing, what their heart is asking for, whether the connection can still meet them in a deeper way. The Eight of Cups is also connected to Saturn and Pisces. And Saturn brings the reality check. Saturn asks what's sustainable, what's mature, what has long-term growth, and what can't keep being avoided. And Pisces brings emotional water. So Pisces is sensitive and intuitive and changeable and deeply affected by mood, longing, dreams, and emotional atmosphere. Because Pisces is mutable, it's adapt and can go with the flow, but it can also easily be swayed, diverted, or shaped by whatever emotional current is strongest. So when Saturn and Pisces come together in the Eight of Cups, the emotional dream meets the reality check. This person may have been flowing with the connection, hoping it would become more fulfilling, adapting to what was there, or trying to make peace with what was missing. But Saturn asks, is this actually feeding your heart? Is this growing? Is this sustainable? Or are you shaping yourself around something that still feels emotionally incomplete? This is why this card can feel heavy. Pisces may want to keep feeling, hoping, forgiving, and drifting, but Saturn brings limits and boundaries. The heart can't keep pretending the missing piece doesn't matter. Because Pisces is mutable water, this may not be a harsh or aggressive decision. It can be more reactive than proactive. They may be responding to the emotional atmosphere, realizing the current has shifted, and feeling pulled to change course because the connection no longer feels the way it used to. So, what do they want? They want emotional truth and growth. They want a connection with depth, substance, and a real reason to stay. And they want something worth staying for, not something they have to emotionally leave in order to find themselves again. This card shows up as pulling back, needing space, asking deeper questions, refusing to stay in a shallow dynamic, or becoming less willing to perform emotional investment where their heart doesn't feel fed. If something's not fulfilling them, they won't be able to keep pretending it is. They want deeper fulfillment, and if the connection can't provide that in its current form, they may feel pulled to step back, turn inward, or search for the missing cup somewhere else. All right. Now we're going to move into the resistance. Resistance shows what makes it difficult for this person to show up directly in the relationship. Sometimes it's internal, like fear or avoidance, pride, might even be shame or insecurity, money, health, or priorities. Or sometimes it's timing or work or kids or outer family responsibilities or the way their life's set up. This placement's not always saying that they don't care. It shows what interferes in their ability to show up cleanly, even when in the situations where they want to. And also to remember, not every story is going to be yours. Just lean into what feels right and leave what doesn't here. Some of these are pretty heavy cards. So for the resistance, Pisces, you have the 5 of Pentacles. So the resistance is coming from lack. Money, stress, physical strain, hardship, or feeling unsupported. 5 of Pentacles is a card of being out in the cold. It can show someone feeling excluded, not chosen, not secure, or it can show someone going through something really difficult that you might not even know about. Because this is Pentacles, the resistance is practical. So this can be money, work, time, health, their physical body. It can be housing, resources, basic stability, physical energy, or whether someone feels secure enough to show up in a practical way. It might not be dramatic or even avoidance. The resistance may be that this person doesn't feel like they have enough to properly show up. Enough money or energy, enough time, maybe even enough health. Maybe they don't feel like they have enough stability or confidence or enough support. This card can also speak to physical strain, not feeling well, being worn down, or trying to keep going while something in life is making everything harder. Help, support, or warmth might be nearby, but this person may not be able to access it, or they may not ask for help. They may feel ashamed, or they may feel left out, rejected, unsupported, or not comfortable asking anybody for help because they don't want anybody to know how bad things are, maybe. In Crowley's system, this card is called worry, so the resistance may not only be the hardship itself, it may be the worry around the hardship. When someone's worried about money, health, work, or survival, or stability, or what could go wrong, it becomes harder for them to show up emotionally for anything. Another layer here is this card is also connected to Mercury and Taurus, and Mercury is the mind, thoughts, how someone communicates and learns, and what someone keeps thinking about. Taurus is security and money, body, the body, comfort, stability in the material world. So together this shows the mind worrying about practical security. This person may be thinking, do I have enough? Am I stable enough? Can I afford this? Can I handle this? Is my life secure enough to be able to give anything real back? Or maybe even whether the connection is safe. So the resistance here could be money, health, family. It might be family pressure. It might be work pressure. It can be hardship on many levels, or simply feeling like life's too heavy right now. They just got a whole lot going on. And it can also be emotional insecurity, shame, pride around needing help, or a fear of rejection, feeling left out, or feeling like they don't belong. This is the 5 of Pentacles. patterns. So the focus goes to what's missing, what feels unsafe, or what they don't feel like they have enough of. This card can show someone who may want connection but doesn't feel resourced enough to participate in it properly. Their real life may be heavy. They may be dealing with something behind the scenes or something you already know about. And that may be part of why they're not showing up fully. So the resistance is not automatically lack of love or lack of interest. It may be the weight of the lack. It might be the weight of the fear or worry or shame. This can show up as money stress, health stress, physical strain, insecurity, or real-world instability getting between them and this connection and showing up. Okay. This next placement, this is the blind spot. And you have the Magician reversed. So the blind spot shows what's active in the situation but not fully seen. It can be a problem, a pattern, an opportunity, a hidden strength, or an outside influence. It can be a practical fear or even an emotional truth. But this placement can come from either side. So this placement is different than all the other placements. Every other placement is either yours or theirs. How they feel, what they're attracted to you about, what's causing them to not show up. This can come from either side of the connection, or it can come from the dynamic of how you guys are together, the push and pull, the energy between you that created it. So the Magician represents willpower and strength and ability and resources, influence. It represents personal power and the ability to turn intention into action. Upright, the Magician has true power. It has the ability to focus their will, use what's available, and create movement in the outer world. This is a card of someone who has tools, the knowledge, the words, and the ability to really affect a situation. But reversed, that power becomes distorted. So the Magician reversed can become the master of illusion. Skill, influence, words, and tools are still present, but they can be used for showmanship, deception, trickery, manipulation, or selfish gain. Because this is a major arcana, and this card is in the blind spot. The blind spot isn't small. This points to a deeper pattern around power, communication, intention, someone's choices or follow through, and something that's not functioning in a healthy way. And it may be shaping the connection more than someone realizes yet, because it's not realized, it's in the blind spot. That's not to say it won't be eventually, but right now it's not. It might be felt, but it's not seen or named or acknowledged maybe. The Magician carries Mercury energy, so this brings in the mind, words, messages, logic, speech, quick thinking, communication. Reversed, though, the Mercury energy can become scattered, inconsistent, vague, clever, cunning, or even dishonest. On a broader level, this can point to something someone's trying to start or build or apply for, or pitch or fix or move toward in their own life. And the ability may be there, but the approach is off. So they may be poor planning or scattered focus, or not enough follow through. Or this can be low confidence, wasted talent, shortcuts someone's taking instead of doing the tried and true way, or an attempt to force an outcome before the plan is solid. Whatever they're trying to create may not be working because this person's will, method, or motive behind it's not clear, honest, focused, or grounded enough. In the connection, this shows up as misalignment. Someone's words, motives, influence, or follow-through might not be matching. There may be big talk, charm, confidence, presence, or control, but underneath that, the motive is selfish, insincere, insecure, unclear even, and not backed by follow-through. At the lighter end of this card, this can show someone with self-doubt, poor planning, low willpower, or someone feeling disconnected from their own ability to make something happen or create the relationship they want. They may have the tools to handle the situation better, but because of reversal, they're not using them positively or properly. The Magician reverse can also go much darker than self-doubt. This can show someone who knows how to create a performance, say the right thing, look convincing, make something appear better than it actually is. In the extreme, this is con artist energy, charm, illusion, and presentation being used to cover what's really going on. This is where trickery comes in. The blind spot may be deceit, manipulation, cunning, or someone using words, magnetism, or appeal to get what they want. They may be pretending to have your best interests at heart when the opposite is actually true. This can show lying by omission, selective truth. They may not tell the whole story, but they'll reveal enough to influence the situation and stay in control while leaving out the parts that would make them accountable. At the heavier end, this can become charm or sex used as leverage, control of the narrative, moving the goalposts, twisting someone's words, withholding information, using attraction or intimacy to keep someone hooked. And this can show someone who knows how to work the room, work the wording, or shape the story. They know how to influence the situation, but the way they're using that influences isn't clean. This can also show someone becoming obsessed with power or control. Their thinking may be restless, reactive, distorted, or scattered, and instead of owning that, they may try to control everything around them. They may try to manage the conversation, the silence, and the other person's perception, or the version of events that gets seen. The Magician reversed warns that not everything is what it seems. There may be a romantic illusion, a performance happening, or someone presenting themselves one way while something else is happening underneath. So even if your person seems perfect, if you're dating someone new or something, make sure you know them really well, or get to know them really well before making any major commitments or anything. It's a major arcana. It's the one card too. It's the start of everything. Because the Magician reverse can talk beautifully, the words can sound powerful or polished and convincing, but the real truth is whether those words become something honest, consistent, and real. So what's not being fully seen is the gap between performance and truth. This card exposes where power, words, charm, or influence are being used to shape a situation instead of reveal it. And the blind spot isn't just what's being said, it's what those words are being used to hide, control, or get away with. Okay, let's move into the first half of the alignment check. So the alignment check has two parts. First, we're going to look at how this person shows up when it's easy, when the conversation feels light, calm, comfortable, low pressure, or convenient for them. This is how they show up when things are flowing, nothing major is being asked of them, or when the connection doesn't require much sacrifice or accountability yet. Then we're going to compare to when it counts, and how they show up when the connection asks for more maturity, effort, honesty, real follow-through. So first, when it's easy, Pisces, you have the Four of Wands reversed. So because this is Wands, we're looking at action, energy, effort, initiative, pursuit, drive, desire, and follow-through here. Wands show what someone puts energy into and whether their actions carry real momentum. Because it's a four, we're looking at stability, structure, comfort, and whether something feels settled or established. So Four of Wands upright is comfort and peace and celebration. It's homecoming, shared joy, the feeling of being welcomed into something. It can mean marriages and celebrations and baby showers and all kinds of celebration it falls under. It can show warmth and harmony and friendship and attraction and good energy that feels easy and joyful. But with the reversal, this shows that those good feelings don't express themselves in the smoothest or most natural way. It's not that the comfort's missing. It's the comfort may be quieter or more private or more delayed or harder for this person to fully relax into. This person might show up with warmth and comfort and attraction and good energy when things are easy, and enjoy the connection. They like being around you. They appreciate the comfort and the familiarity and the friendship and the good feelings between you. But because the card's reversed, the good energy may come through in a quieter, more private, delayed, or kind of silent, awkward way. It's not that the good feeling isn't there. In the original Rider-Waite, he doesn't even change. It's pretty much the same. Reversed is just quieter or delayed, or yeah. So it's not like the good feelings aren't there. They're just maybe quieter, more private, delayed, or slightly awkward in a way. So it's not that it's that it may not be fully expressed or fully celebrated or fully opened up to. So this can look like someone enjoying the moment but keeping low key. They may show warmth but not make a big public display. They may delay plans, keep things private, hesitate around home and family, or just come around when it's, if there's a celebration or something going on, not always come home all the time. They may show warmth but not make a big public display. They may delay plans, keep things private. This can show up as hesitation around family or home or celebrations or relationship milestones, or maybe it can be someone that feels a little awkward when the connection starts to feel more settled. This is Venus and Aries correlates to this card, the Four of Wands. So there's warmth and desire, but there's also restlessness. Traditionally, Venus is debilitated in Aries, so which means that Venus has a harder time expressing herself in a natural way there. So Venus wants harmony and closeness and softness and ease, and Aries wants independence and action and immediacy and room to move. So my take on this is that this person may feel the warmth, but they may not naturally know how to stay comfortable inside of it. They may enjoy the connection and still bring warmth and chemistry, yet still feel a bit restless when things start to feel too settled, too formal, or too permanent. They may want to be softer or calmer or gentler than they naturally feel inside, or hold back some of their natural intensity so the connection still feels welcoming or comfortable or good to be in. So when it's easy, this person shows up with warmth and chemistry and good energy, and they enjoy your closeness and the connection, but it may not be fully expressed easily. The warmth may come through more quiet, private, shy, awkward, or more cautiously than expected, or maybe even delayed. But they do appreciate the connection. It is a happy card. It's a positive card. They just may struggle to relax, be patient, or fully open up and be present without feeling restless, restricted, or pulled back to their own independence. For when it counts, Pisces, you have the Knight of Cups. For when it counts, this shows how your person behaves when the connection is under real pressure. During hurt feelings, hard conversations, emotional stress, misunderstandings, real needs, conflict, moments where the relationship requires maturity or consistency, or someone to really show up. This is where you see how they show up when things are no longer easy, light, or convenient. And because this is a Knight, we're looking at movement. Knights show how someone comes forward, what they pursue, or how they act on the energy of the suit they belong to. So this doesn't have to describe a man. It can describe any person, or it's an energy that someone's showing up with. A Knight shows movement and behavior and maturity level and how someone behaves on what they feel. And Cups tell us that the movement is emotional. Cups bring in feeling and care. It might be affection. It might be an apology, vulnerability, comfort, and romance, emotional expression, and what comes from the heart. So when it counts, this person shows up through feeling. This person may come in with romance. They come in softer. This is a very gentle energy. They may have an apology. It's a lot of emotional support, charming. They bring comfort and attempt to try and make things better. This is someone who can move toward feelings in real life. This can look like someone reaching out, expressing how they feel, trying to repair things emotionally, comforting you, asking to see you, saying something kind, or making romantic gestures, or offering care in a way that's sincere. The Knight of Cups is romantic and sensitive and creative. They're kind-hearted, they're soft-hearted, they're emotionally expressive. This is someone gentle, sentimental, it's intuitive, and someone shy but has emotional courage and can still show up and is willing to come forward for you. This is also an elemental layer here. So Knights carry movement and Cups carry water. So the Knight of Cups is emotional energy and motion. It's the feeling that wants to act on their affections. It's tenderness, romance, imagination, or emotional instinct becoming action. This can make them charming and sweet and sensitive and empathetic and emotionally responsive. They want to comfort, they want to soothe and reconnect and make things feel better. The person may lead with their heart before they lead with logic. So when it counts, this is someone who shows up. This is someone who will put in the emotional effort. They may not come in perfectly, but they come in genuinely. They want to show up. They want to be there for you. They want to respond with care. So when things are easy, this person shows up, shows happiness in a quieter, more reserved way. They enjoy the connection. They like being around you, and they can bring warmth and comfort and affection, joking. And maybe too, this is also someone who shows more of that care in private when you guys are together, more so than in public, you know. Maybe public displays make them feel uncomfortable or something. So when you guys are together, maybe alone, maybe you get the best of them. Just because it's a shyer, more private energy, but it's still happy and positive. But so when things get real, they enjoy the connection. They like being around you. They can bring warmth, comfort, joking, familiarity, and good energy. Their easy energy may be simple, private, low-key, or a little awkward, but the good feeling's still there, and it's genuine. And when things get real, the Knight of Cups shows their emotional side. If there are hurt feelings or tension or misunderstandings or a real relationship problem, this person wants to respond. They want to be there for you. They want to comfort and reconnect and apologize. They want to soften the situation and make things better. It'll bother them because they're so sensitive themselves if there's misalignment. This is someone who's affected by the emotional state of the connection. If their person is upset, it matters to them. They're sensitive to that. This is also someone that if they're upset, they can kind of be a little sulky or super sensitive, but they do care, and they care about how their person feels. And when something emotionally important is happening, they want to show up with empathy and tenderness, sincerity. So the contrast here is that when things are easy, there's happiness, but it just maybe a little bit more quiet. And when things are hard, their care becomes more expressive. So they may be reserved in comfort, and they become more emotionally present for you when it matters. That's really nice. That's a really nice alignment, Pisces. Okay, so we're looking at this person's next move here. This shows what the person is most likely to do next, not just what they feel, not just what they think, but what their energy is moving towards. So for their next move, you have the Eight of Swords reversed. Because this is swords, the next move begins in the mind. Swords deal with thoughts and fear, communication, truth, anxiety, decisions. So the Eight of Swords upright is a mental cage. It shows someone who feels trapped, restricted, bound, silenced, or unable to move because of fear. They overthink. It shows someone whose mind has narrowed their own situation out of fear and overthinking and confusion, or pressure has made them see limits before they even see options. So their mind keeps showing them what could go wrong, what they can't say, what they can't do, or why they should stay stuck. But reversed, pressure breaks open the cage. The older rider weight meaning gives this reversal a sharper edge. His meaning had to do with disquiet, difficulty, opposition, the unforeseen, and treachery. So this movement, it's not really peacefully walking out. This is more like the mental trap gets disturbed, the mental trap that they're in. Something makes staying stuck harder than moving. So something disrupts the silence, something challenges the fear, something makes the old excuses harder to keep using, or something unexpected may force this person to look at what they've been avoiding, whatever that may be. But it's intense, and they've been doing it for a while. This can be a conversation they can't avoid anymore. This could be pressure building until silence no longer works. It could be someone challenging their excuses. This can show up as unexpected news or timing changes the situation completely. This can be anxiety or unrest forcing them to deal with what they've avoided for a long time. A betrayal, a lie, or hidden issue becomes harder to ignore or comes out. A mental story they were trapped in starts to crack. So their next move may be to finally speak up after holding back. This can look like responding after silence, and admitting they've been scared, admitting to something that's been going on in their life, challenging an excuse, asking for clarity, making a decision they've kept delaying. The movement can come through nervousness, and awkward timing, and tension, or intensity, or an uncomfortable realization. This is breakthrough, but it comes through disruption. So the Eight of Swords correlates to Jupiter and Gemini, and Jupiter expands, and Gemini multiplies thoughts, options, questions, fears, and possibilities. So the problem may not be that this person has no choices. The problem may be that their mind has created too many angles, too many fears, too many what ifs, or too much interference. Their thoughts interfere with their ability to act clearly. And they may want to move or speak or decide, but the mind keeps interrupting itself. So they may have thought themselves into a corner, and too many possibilities has become paralysis. So their next move is not complete freedom. It's the first break in this mental trap they're in. And they start seeing where fear has been running the show, or they start realizing that staying stuck is also a choice, or something about the situation pushes them to finally respond or speak or decide or move. This is someone starting to come out of their head, but the way out may be uncomfortable before it becomes clear. Okay. This is your power move. This is what keeps you in your integrity no matter what's happening, whatever's going on in the connection. This is not about chasing or forcing or proving or manipulating or trying to get control of the situation. It shows the move that keeps you aligned with yourself. And for your power move, Pisces, you have the World. This is big. This is the last card of the major arcana. The World is completion, closure, wholeness, and bringing something full circle. This is the final card of the whole deck. So this is not a small piece of advice. This is major. This is about stepping back far enough to see the whole picture. Your power move is to act from completion, not from insecurity. That means you don't keep feeding the cycle that's already showed you what it is. Don't keep reopening what needs to be closed. Don't shrink yourself to stay inside an unfinished story. The World says look at the whole picture, not just one text, one mood, one apology, one fear, one moment of hope. Look at what happened. Look at what's been repeated. Look at what's changed, what didn't change, what you've learned, and what version of this situation is asking you to become. And what version of yourself do you want to become? This can look like closing a conversation cleanly, accepting the truth where things stand. It can talk about finishing what needs to be finished, settling a final boundary, or choosing peace over repetition, or deciding that you're not available for anything that keeps you circling the same unresolved pattern. It doesn't have to mean a dramatic ending. The World can show maturity. It can mean handling the situation like someone who knows their worth, who knows what they've learned, who knows that they don't need to chase closure for someone else in order to feel complete. So your power moves to bring the situation full circle without adding more chaos to it. If something is complete, let it be complete. If something is ready to evolve, let it evolve from a place of truth. If something still wants to access to you, it has to meet the fuller version of you, not the version that you keep shrinking to keep the cycle alive. Don't keep auditioning for a chapter you've already outgrown. Your power move is not to win the cycle, it's to complete it. Okay. Very cool. Okay, from here we're going to move into the rune. And Tarot showed us the emotional pattern and the behavior and the pressure. It showed us their next move and your power move. And now the rune gets the final word here. The rune gives the final layer. Runes can bring guidance or warning. They can bring confirmation, timing, pressure, or a deeper truth underneath the whole reading. Let's see what the runes want to say. Okay. And can you see that? Sorry. We have This is movement. This is so interesting because I think the last two signs, the last four signs both shared this two runes. This is the horse and the rider. This is movement and partnership. This is the horse and the rider had to move together. They had to be in sync. So it's about this talks about progress that only happens through aligned movement. This talks about paying attention to your actions and directions and where you're putting your effort. Are you in alignment or do you feel out of sync? Nothing will move forward when things aren't moving in the same direction. This applies to relationship, goals, or anything that you're trying to move forward in. Yeah. This is movement. Very cool. Okay. That's what I have for you, Pisces.